Hey everyone, thanks so much for joining us for this webinar. Today's topic was inspired by the efforts that we've seen our users and the industry as a whole make in order to withstand the impact of coronavirus on their businesses, and that's the incorporation of extended stays into their business model. My name's Shelby, and I'll be walking you through our product webinar today. So first, let's briefly cover the agenda for today's talk. We'll start by introducing extended stays, also known as midterm stays, the common use cases and why property managers are leveraging them as a result of COVID-19. Next, we'll discuss the benefits of leveraging extended stays today and also potentially post-COVID as well. Then we'll cover a number of best practices that are important to keep in mind if you plan on offering extended stays to guests. We'll get into discussing distribution, where you can be generating these extended stay bookings. We'll go over all the different features and functions Guesty has available for property managers who are currently or who plan to incorporate extended stays into their business model. And then we'll finish with a couple of additional resources that are available to you on our website to try and help continue growing your business. And with all of that said, let's get started. So the coronavirus pandemic has tested the travel industry in significant ways. With the limitations that we've seen on international travel over the last couple of months, coupled with all the uncertainty around when things are going to go back to normal, many short-term rental companies are looking for ways to mitigate their losses, increase their occupancy, ensure business continuity, and try to relieve the stress that their owners are experiencing as well. In fact, Guesty surveyed nearly 400 property managers on what actions they're taking and in what directions they're pivoting in light of what's happening right now. And not surprisingly, almost 40% said they're diversifying their business models to include extended stays of 28 days or more, and in order to attract more bookings and try to generate revenue wherever and however they can. So new travel personas and patterns have emerged due to COVID-19. One pattern being that people are increasingly seeking out rentals for longer periods of time, such as a month or more. In fact, Airbnb has seen a 20% surge in longer-term bookings compared to this time last year. So some of the more common scenarios we're seeing for these monthly stays are displaced travelers who can't return home due to travel limitations, frontline workers like hospital workers, delivery drivers, grocery store employees, you name it, who need a temporary place to live that's close to work and still isolated from family members. Or social distancers who are looking to escape crowded areas or condensed cities until the worst of coronavirus blows over. Might also be work from homers, digital nomads, looking for more spacious or better equipped settings now that remote work has become the new norm. Corporate stays also could include a group of employees staying somewhere near their office for an extended period of time. Other typical types of midterm guests might include students, people transitioning between permanent housing situations, and families who are just looking to leverage properties with amenities for the summer, allowing their kids to enjoy a swimming pool and a backyard all summer long, despite the fact that they may not be traveling far from home. So you can see there are tons of different use cases for extended stays. So first of all, what are extended stays? How do we classify them versus short-term stays? It's really easy. If the stay is more than 28 days, it's an extended stay, and that's how booking channels classify them as well. The extended stays that we're really focusing on here are stays that are probably anywhere from 28 days to periods of a few months. Typically, anything longer than that is going to be considered more of a longer-term lease and usually would demand a lower average nightly rate. For that reason, property managers typically prefer the majority of their inventory being dedicated to short-term rentals where their profit margin is higher. And for that reason, they don't want to be locked into a lease that's too long or that might exceed the projections of when the industry is going to recover. Extended stays also typically come with a reduced daily rate, but offer the security of occupancy for a longer period of time, which is ideal in a time of uncertainty. So you might be thinking that extended stays are just a temporary measure, right? But one thing to take into consideration is that extended stays might still be relevant once the pandemic is over as well. And for that reason, you might want to be aware of what your PMS partner has to offer and what your booking channels have to offer so that you know exactly how to leverage this should you choose to do so at any time. Guests who are looking for extended stay accommodation don't always want to make a commitment of signing a several-month lease, so instead they're looking for more of an Airbnb-like accommodation for a longer term, meaning all of the convenience of a furnished and functional home or apartment with amenities without the hassle involved in leasing. For short-term property management companies, this creates a unique opportunity to fill rentals during off-seasons and other low occupancy times, even once coronavirus is a distant memory or at least less of a concern. Our direct integrated channel partners like Airbnb are even trying to make it easier for consumers who are looking for these types of properties by recently introducing their monthly stay program, which we'll talk about in a little bit. Let's talk first about some of the benefits of renting your properties out for extended stays. One of the first benefits is the potential for increased rental income. While short-term rentals usually yield more income on a nightly basis, for portfolios that are averaging 65% or lower in yearly occupancy, it makes sense to identify your low seasons and then to potentially incorporate extended stays. It's going to be different for every business depending on its location, business model, the amenities it offers, and you're going to have to find the right balance that works best for your business. Just one example might be, let's say you're located near a university. Depending on your occupancy, you might decide that during the school year, you're going to leverage part of your portfolio to include extended stays for interns or students that are doing a semester abroad, whereas during the summer, you might be enforcing short-term rentals across your entire portfolio. One of our customers, actually, D. Alexander, actually did something really great to adapt to what's going on right now and to ensure that they would get an increased income for their businesses. This property management company, which has properties in Florida, Tennessee, and Arizona, was among the first hybrid hospitality company to quickly consider how their customer needs are changing and how their business is changing. And the company unveiled its Destination Isolation campaign in March, which consists of retreats of 2 weeks to 3 months in a beach, desert, or mountain area type property, giving anyone looking to isolate alone or even with family a rare combination of quality, comfort, and open space. And this was a super clever way for them to assure income even in the thick of a pandemic. The second benefit is having reduced check-ins, cleanings, management times. We all know that the trade-off between short-term and extended stays is the workload. So for short-term rentals, guests expect prompt responses from property managers and hosts at all times. Even if you have great guests, you still need to handle basic communication and scheduling around the clock for those renting out your listings short-term. More turnovers means far more time communicating with guests, far more operational needs. When you rent out your property for extended stays, you'll interact with fewer renters and spend less time overall communicating as well. This would allow you to take time to vet each renter, make sure you're comfortable with them living in your property for a month or more. Also, you won't have to consistently schedule new cleanings or maintenance visits, etc. So, if you want to rent out your properties for midterm stays, take a note of the following best practices. So set clear expectations. When you're talking to potential renters, be upfront about expectations and availability. If you know you have upcoming bookings, let them know. That way they don't expect to be able to extend their stay. If you're hoping to get back into short-term rentals as soon as possible, this should be something that's made clear to your tenants. Next, make the most out of technology. Keep track of all your bookings across all of these different platforms, both short-term and extended, using a centralized and single multi-calendar tool. That way, you have the best oversight of your portfolio and what's going on in your business. Also, make sure to market your listings on social media and additional platforms. Someone is always looking for a place to stay, and you never know who may see and share your listings. Think long-term. This is an important one. What would you expect from a property that you plan on staying in for more than a month? One example that comes to mind right away is access to laundry. For extended stays, something like laundry access is far more important than the average short-term stay. What amenities do you have to offer for this? And if you don't, what potential upsells can you then offer to bridge those gaps? Another great example is transportation. Your guests are going to be sticking around for a while, and they may not have sorted out how they plan on getting from one place to another. And another great opportunity for you to upsell are rental cars as part of their rental package, or even facilitating the ability to use public transportation, whether that's offering bus passes. It's important to shift your mindset in all the areas and think long term. Marketing these services and letting guests know that you've thought of everything for their extended stay is going to help you close the deal and generate as much revenue as you can. Another creative add-on service that you can manage is grocery deliveries. So think about what's going to set you apart. You get it. Next, put an emphasis on marketing. Promote these stays locally, since many guests will likely be domestic travelers for the time being. Change your listing descriptions to showcase that properties are available for short-term and mid-term reservations. Market discounted rates for monthly stays. Let your guests know that you're offering competitive discounts for extended reservations. The combination of all these factors is likely going to contribute to getting more eyes on your listings and thus more bookings. Lastly, know your market. You need to know your rental market to figure out the ideal mix of short-term and extended stays. By optimizing this mix, you'll maximize your bottom line. So use an analytics tool to better understand your busiest and your slowest periods. And by the way, Guesty has one of the best in-house business intelligence dashboards in the industry that allows you to do just this. So be sure to leverage that. Okay, so accommodating hybrid business models is not something that's new to Guesty. Despite Guesty being geared toward short-term rentals and a high volume of turnovers, one of the benefits of Guesty is that our feature set offers customizations that allow businesses to tailor their platform to their operational needs. And the reason for that is we know that no two businesses operate the same, and a lot of our clients have many different reasons for wanting to offer a different range of services, whether those be short-term and long-term, or short-term and student accommodation, or very hotel-like and very VR-like. We know that companies today want to diversify their offerings, diversify their portfolios, and here at Guesty, we're committed to offering and accommodating that versatility with an equally versatile feature set. So today you'll get to see a taste of what it would be like to leverage a short-term rental software to also manage midterm and extended stays. So before we hit on features, let's talk about distribution and where you're generating these extended stay reservations from. Something really exciting is that Airbnb now has a monthly stays feature as part of their platform. You'll need to modify your listings accordingly on Guesty to meet Airbnb's monthly stay requirements and qualify your listings to appear in Airbnb monthly stay searches. And in order to qualify as a monthly stay on Airbnb, your listing has to follow the following requirements on Guesty, so I'll go through them. 1, the duration is 28 days or more, and you can do this by setting your listing's upper length of stay limit to 28 days or more. The listing will then qualify as both a monthly stay and a short-term rental on Airbnb, and it'll appear in both types of search results. This is really awesome. Now, it's also mandatory to offer at least a 10% monthly discount on monthly stays. So know that most property management companies offer even more than that for a monthly discount, but it's totally up to you. It needs to be at least 10%. And the last thing you'll need to do is provide the necessary amenities like kitchen, Wi-Fi, washing machine, and essentials like bed linens, pillows, towels, and check them off on your listing pages to make sure that it's also conveyed to your guests. And that's basically all you need to do to qualify for Airbnb's monthly stays. So moving on, we also offer an integration with Rentals United, our channel manager partner that offers the potential to connect with a handful of additional midterm oriented booking platforms such as Spot-A-Home, Bridge Street, HomeLike. So keep that in mind. We offer a Rentals United integration for an additional fee. If you're already an existing Guesty user, you can talk to us about what those costs would be. So lastly, there's also the ability to add manual reservations to Guesty, which would be a reservation that you're booking via channels that you're not directly integrated to. So if you're already using or looking to use platforms like Zillow or Zumper or social media or even word of mouth, whatever it might be, you can add those bookings to Guesty manually and still take full advantage of all of the Guesty features thereafter to manage those bookings. So make sure to set those platforms to inquiry only in order to avoid double bookings. So you can see there's a handful of different options for you to take advantage of in terms of generating these extended stays. One of the first functions that we'll cover today is the creation of a manual reservation from within your Guesty dashboard. So typically reservations are automatically imported into Guesty when they're made via a booking channel that we're integrated to or via your Guesty booking website. But in many cases with extended stays, you may have generated bookings directly or via a platform that's not integrated to Guesty. And in these cases, the second that you create the reservation manually, the reservation benefits from all of the Guesty features, like I said. So in order to create a manual reservation, you would follow these steps. On the top right corner of your Guesty dashboard, no matter what page you're on, you'll always see a plus sign. This plus sign allows you to create a new listing, a new task, and in our case, a new reservation. Once you've clicked on New Reservation, you do the following. Identify the status of the reservation. Is it already confirmed or is it tentative? This is important because depending on whether you want the calendar to be blocked at the moment or not, you want to decide whether the reservation is an inquiry, whether it's reserved or confirmed. And only confirmed reservations will trigger the rest of our automation features. The second step is to set the dates of the reservations. The third step is to identify the source of the reservation. This is actually a really cool function because you can create custom sources for your extended stays that allow you to filter all of your data by that specific source. So let's say you generate extended stays via a source like Zillow. You can make the source in Guesty. You can make that the source in Guesty, and that will also be reflected in your analytics, meaning that when you pull a report of all of your reservation revenue, you can filter by Zillow and really measure the impact that those bookings are having on your business. The fourth and fifth steps are to identify the listing, the guest details. You can create a new guest or choose from an old guest within your guest book. And the last step is to identify the fare. Whether you've offered a discount or negotiated a monthly rate, you'll set up the cost of accommodation taxes and the cost of cleaning. And that's it. Once you click save, the reservation operates like any other. And we'll be linking Help Center articles throughout this presentation so you can find step-by-step instructions on how to do these things on your own time. Okay. The second feature that you should take advantage of when managing extended stays is our custom fields. So tailor the way that Guesty works for you by creating custom fields to identify your extended stays and then build automations exclusively for those types of reservations. So you can create custom fields on both the reservation or the listing level. This allows you to identify either that listings are specific listings for extended stays or that specific reservations are extended stays. And you can set up your custom fields within your Guesty system settings. What you'll do is give the custom field a name, such as extended stay. And then our suggestion is to choose the field type as a yes or no toggle. What this will allow you to do is easily toggle a reservation into an extended stay, and then you can filter all of your data by that extended stay field and also set automations to only trigger if the extended stay field is toggled to yes. So then, for example, you can set that a certain automated message only goes out to reservations that have been toggled yes to extended stays. And essentially, that means that you can create a whole sequence of messages that are automated and that differ from your short-term rental messages and that are geared towards reservations of 28 days or longer. Guesty wants to help you save time. And in this case, with communication for all of the different types of stays that you're going to be accommodating. Once you've created this custom field, you can also easily pull reports on all of the extended stays that you're currently servicing and measure the revenue that's generated exclusively from extended stays. And that's just a few examples of how Guesty custom fields make the software work for you. So moving on. This next feature is one of Guesty's newer features that can really be leveraged when working directly with guests who want to see what your offerings are. And it's our send a quote feature. From right within the Guesty multi-calendar, where you'll have oversight of all of your listings, both longer term and short term, and their availability, You'll be able to filter your portfolio by a number of different parameters. So the first thing that you'll do is identify the dates that your guest is interested in, and then filter by number of guests, specific location, or any specific amenities that they've requested, and then you click Apply Filters. Only the listings in your portfolio that meet those search criteria will generate in the results, and you'll be able to click on one or multiple listings and customize a quote for that guest. So you can leverage Send a Quote to offer discounted rates and make offers that expire within a certain number of hours or days. You can also choose whether these properties are temporarily blocked on your calendar or not. Temporarily reserved properties will be color-coded in your multi-calendar. And once you click Save and Send a Quote, a branded quote will be sent to your potential guests, showcasing the different options you've suggested, the properties and their details, whether the offer expires or not, and of course the ability to then confirm their booking and make a payment. Another great feature that you might leverage when managing extended stays, and especially when managing bookings that have been generated offline, is our rental agreement feature. Our rental agreement feature allows you to detail your terms and conditions and collect legally binding e-signatures by customizing multiple different agreement types and automatically sending personalized rental agreements to your guests via automated messages. Remember that the custom fields filter allows you to set that certain rental agreements are only sent to reservations that have been toggled yes to extended stay. Of course, you can also send a rental agreement manually if you need to. Within our document manager, you'll also be able to track the status of each agreement you've sent and guarantee that you have all the assurances that you need before the guest arrives. We know how important it is that property managers protect themselves and their assets, so take advantage of this feature as it's fully integrated into our software. Now, in addition to protective measures, we also want you to generate as much revenue as you can. And the extended stays provide a unique opportunity to offer guests additional services that might vary from services that you offer to your short-term guests. For example, maybe a bi-weekly cleaning, a laundry service, renter's insurance, or whatever creative add-on you have to upsell that might further set you apart from your competition, whatever it might be. In these cases, you could take advantage of Guesty's Share a Guest Invoice feature, which would allow you to easily add additional invoice items to the reservation and send out a branded payment link enabling your guests to make a quick payment, and then this will all be automatically reflected within Guesty. Charging your guests for additional services right within the Guesty platform would also then allow you to have one centralized report on all of the different sources of revenue. Now, next. We know that with property management companies operating with solely short-term rentals, most of their bookings are typically coming from booking channels, and in some cases they may not have even needed to have their own website. So for those of you who don't know, Guesty offers an out-of-the-box booking website that you can create in just 5 minutes. And now the cool thing about Guesty is that we allow you to have as many different websites as you need. So for this reason, you might decide that you want to create a website dedicated to extended stays and then allow you to market the services and amenities that you're offering specifically for those types of reservations. When you create your website, you can create your own customized domain and customize the website entirely to your business and choose whether the website is instant book or inquiry based, and you'll be able to identify terms and conditions specific to these reservations as well. Within a few minutes, you will have a fully functioning branded booking website that also supports easy payments. One of the last features that we're going to cover is our task management feature. For those of you who don't utilize it already for your short-term rentals, then you must, because it is the best in-house mobile-based task management application in the industry. It allows you to create task templates for different types of bookings, listings, or in this case, reservations, and automate the scheduling of them to your operations team via our mobile app. In this case, depending on your offering, you might have decided to only include a post-checkout cleaning. However, our suggestion and a great opportunity for you to upsell is to offer your guests additional cleanings, bi-weekly or monthly cleanings, depending on the length of their stay. And in that case, you'd be leveraging this feature to schedule those additional cleanings. Our task management feature allows you to create a custom template with a description, an expected duration, a checklist, and more. And your cleaner can fill out and report back from the field on the status of these tasks from the mobile app. So that's all we'll be covering for today's webinar. We hope that should you decide to leverage extended stays, you'll be able to see how useful Guesty can be in enabling you to do that. And to summarize, managing extended stays with Guesty enables you to keep your calendar up to date with reservations of all types, centralize all guest details for both short-term and mid-term stays, have all of your financial records stored in one place, modify your views and reports to distinguish between short-term and mid-term stays, manage and automate communication with all of your guests, and implement separate flows for short-term versus mid-term reservations, collect information with our check-in form and offer rental agreements to guests booking longer stays, leveraging Guesty's task management tools to handle check-ins and checkout tasks, and process or record payments. So that's just to name a few. So we hope you found this webinar informative. As always, look out for future webinars, blog posts, online meetups, and other resources that Guesty's committing to putting out in this time of great change for property managers. And we're hoping to evolve with our users and their needs, and you can count on us to be the best PMS partner for you in the industry. Thank you all so much for your time. It's been a pleasure.